on to the next builds, badges, and takeover. They said that they revamped the My Player Builder. I don't know. I gotta see it to believe it. And when you revamp it, what does it look like? What were the building blocks in developing this? I think 2K has to really think about what it means to be a basketball player. What are the things that are essential, and how can they balance the game in that regard? And I think they're on their way. They talk about a lot about bigger men won't be able to dribble. we gotta wait and see. We've heard this before. Big guys won't be able to dribble, and then 3 weeks into the game, there's a guy who hacked the dribble moves, and he's a 6'10", 7-foot dude that's crossing people up, and you're like, I thought this was patched. I thought this was fixed. So we have to wait on the whole My Builder. I'm not set yet. I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful that it'll be great, but we just have to wait and see. Now, they did add some new badges. Some of them I think are great. Some of them I think are head scratchers because of the cheesiness of 2K players. But this is where I'm really banking on, where I'm saying if 2K does this, if the badges that they've implemented along with the older ones that they had are balanced, this could be a very good game, because with that, you can see what elevates the player to the next level without breaking the game. That's all we want. Like, how does this create an edge that is advantageous but not overpowering to the point that it annoys and frustrates competitors to the point that they don't want to play anymore? So we have fast twitch, the ability to get off the floor quicker for standing layups and dunks, which is important. When you think about a guy like Zion Williamson, fast twitch, this is an important skill because that means he can get quicker and beat defenders from actually blocking his shot or getting a good contest that would force him to take a bad shot. So I get it. That badge gets a thumbs up for me. I won't give it any letter grade until I actually see how it plays out, but that one gets a thumbs up. Grace under pressure, ability to convert standing layups more effectively. Now this one is interesting. I don't know what this means. Ability to convert standing layups more effectively. Interesting. I think this is one of those this is another big man badge. And going back to what they talked about with the post, I'm a little more excited. I'm a little more excited because ability to convert standing layups more effectively. That's a skill. A lot of times people are like, well, I'm an NBA player. We can put a montage of clips of NBA players blowing point blank layups more than we would like to express and accept. But so I think grace under pressure, and the name speaks to it as well. You just got the rebound. There's people around you. You got to put it up. We've seen big men do this. They have the finesse, the tact, the ability to just lay it off the glass a little bit better than some guys. And I think that's important. And part of that is having that calm, cool, and collectiveness under pressure. So I think it's definitely good. So I'll give it a reluctant thumbs up for now. Limitless Takeoff, the ability to soar from further away on driving dunk attempts. Whew. at first thought, I like it. I like it because that I would consider a skill as well. So I could a lot of times when I look at these badges, I think of my team and how at first when the game starts off, no one's gonna be able to do this and it's gonna keep the game relatively kosher. But by the end, when everybody has Hall of Fame limitless takeoff, the game is gonna be absurd. So I I like the idea. I think it's a good idea because a lot of times that's the difference between a very athletic player and a low to the ground player. Where can they take off and how can how where can they take off and how good are they at dunking when they do take off? So I think this is good because what I'm seeing from a player standpoint, a my career standpoint, or even people who are in the game, this is where I think it starts to get good because there's gonna be sacrifices that have to be made. What are the caps for limitless takeoff? And when you reach that cap and when you are going towards that cap or you max out that cap, what do you have to sacrifice? Because what you're basically saying is, I want to be freakishly athletic if I go the Hall of Fame route. If I go from gold to Hall of Fame, I want to be freakishly athletic. Okay, what is it that you sacrifice to be freakishly athletic? And for those who do not want to be freakishly athletic, is it worth it to go silver and be somewhat athletic in that way, like in terms of your bounce? So I this is definitely one of those that I have to see how it plays out. So it gets a thumbs up for me for the time being. Mouse in the house. Ability for bigs to finish over shorter players more efficiently. This is a tough one. I thought that was a given, but it makes sense. Some people they don't want the smoke from little guys. That's that's real. There are little guys, I would say Chris Paul. I would even say PJ Tucker because he's undersized. Draymond Green. They're shorter. And this is, again, I'm trying to give you guys a bigger picture to the badge breakdown so you guys are aware. So we don't just, like, let's think about these badge in a very fluid way on how the game would approach it. And again, as I stated before, if they do this correctly, if the way I'm talking and thinking this through is how they do it, the game has the potential to be a great game. Mouse in the house. So if you're guarding, there's a lot of big men. Like let's say Adams is guarding is being guarded by a Draymond Green, and he doesn't have Mouse in the house, which he doesn't. In that regard, if he doesn't have that, then that is really going to be hard to score on Draymond Green, which you know most likely has minutes, and we're going to talk about minutes later. That is an important badge to have if you're going to score against undersized power forwards. Think about that. A lot of people like to use undersized players. So if you don't have Mouse in the house, which again, given the example that I just gave, even if your offensive is good, there are just if my defense is better than your offense, then I should be rewarded no matter per se the height difference. It's an interesting way to play out. I like it. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it surprisingly, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. Um, I there's too many things that I think they have to work through for that one to be a very good one. That might be one of those problematic badges, or a badge that doesn't get used at all. But 2K is trying to force it because it's like, okay, if I'm a big man, I might want to get that badge in order to score efficiently against smaller defenders. And you know what? Thinking of the builder, right? I'm actually going to give it a thumbs up because the badge you would need to reach that cap threshold anyways to start off with the bronze, silver Hall of Fame. So your offense would already have to be on par with that to score. All you would need to do is add the badge if you desire. I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I think it's one of those badges. Again, not saying it's gonna be one of the best badges, but I think it's gonna be one of those. It might be one of those badges that you're gonna use, but 2K might take out next year, depending on how it's used. Unstrippable, ability to secure the ball better when gathering for a layup or dunk in traffic. Two-sided. At first glance, I hate this badge. I feel like that should be part of your attribute. But as you know, 2K doesn't do attributes that protect the ball. There's no protect the ball attribute. So unfortunately, you would have to do it with the badge, and most likely this badge is connected to your ball handling. I'm sure if 2K sticks with that theme, it's more than likely going to be with your ball handling, and again, you got to meet the certain threshold. Uh, I like this because of the flipping. I don't like the badge, but I like it because of the flipping. That you're actually gonna be able to strip slashers as they're entering the paint. Now, this only makes sense if it looks right. No, and this is where it gets spooky. I want to see how does 2K create the animations for this particular strip, because I don't think we've ever seen like driving the ball, like a person is driving the ball in strip. We've never seen. I don't think we've ever seen that in 2K. I think that's funny, which could mean two things. One, we're gonna see that in 2K where somebody's driving, and let me, you guys. I think you guys get the idea of what I'm talking about. You've seen this a lot. LeBron James or James Harden, they're driving to the lane and someone swipes down and they bounce the ball either out of on their leg or they just knock it out of bounds. I don't think we've ever seen that in 2K. Like we've seen the strips 1-to-1, but I don't think we've seen the swipe down while the person's driving to the lane and they're stripped. So I don't know. It might be one of those badges that are useless. So